Hello and welcome to the Have You Seen podcast, brought to you by Dave on Film. I'm Dave, and I'd first of all like to thank you all for downloading and listening to my ramblings. If you've not done so already, feel free to subscribe, give us a share, spread the word to all your friends, comment away, or even get in touch with the show. You can email me on daveonfilmreviews@gmail.com or comment wherever you're listening to this. There'll be a comments box, or drop me a message on my socials, which are all in the descriptions of this episode. It's pretty easy to find me. It's been a little while since my last episode, so I'm going to play a little bit of a catch-up. I'll be talking about some of the bigger films that I've been watching recently, as well as going through this week's current top 10 in the UK box office. A fair few of them I have seen, so there's plenty to talk about. And we'll be looking at some of the upcoming films for the rest of 2026. So I just want to start off just by talking openly about some of the films that are kind of coming up later on this year, because I feel like at the moment we're kind of on the precipice of kind of waiting for some of the bigger releases to come out. So in February we've got, so later this month, we've got Scream 7, which is due out, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm a big fan of the Scream franchise ever since seeing the first one on VHS back in the day. Do you remember those VHSs? Yep, I watched the first Scream on video. I saw the second Scream in the cinema, and then I've seen everyone in the cinema since then. And I love that franchise. It's had a little bit of a dip now and then, but they are really good films. So that's out back end of February. You've got films like The Bride, which looks interesting. It's a Maggie Gyllenhaal film with Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley, which is basically a remake of Bride of Frankenstein. We got Hoppers for the kids, which I've seen the trailer for a couple of times and it does look like it could be quite funny. Whether I'll end up seeing it, we'll see. I might use my daughter as an excuse to go along to that. One that I'm really looking forward to that's coming out in March, so it's due out on the 20th of March, is the new Ryan Gosling film called Project Hail Mary. Now, literally this week, I have just finished the book. So I picked up the book. As soon as I saw the trailer for the film, I thought I need to read the book because it's written by the same guy. The author's called Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. And I really liked The Martian film, but I've never read the book. But Project Hail Mary looked interesting, so I got the book and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I read so much of it the other day to finish it off, and it is really entertaining. It's had some mixed reviews online. I've been reading some mixed reviews about kind of the way that the story goes, and I'm very interested to see where the film goes. During the Super Bowl last week, there was the kind of final trailer was released, because during the Super Bowl they release a lot of the big GameSpot trailers, they call them, for the big releases that are coming. And Project Hail Mary was one of them. And I saw the trailer just after finishing the book, so I didn't mind seeing the trailer then. And it looks like it's a really good adaptation of the story. And some of the visuals that they've got in the film are very similar to what I was envisaging from reading the story. So I'm hoping that it's a really good adaptation. Whether they change the ending or not, I don't know. But we'll certainly see when that comes out in March. Also coming out in March, on the same day, in fact, is Ready or Not 2. Again, the first one of that was a lot of fun. It was stupid, but it was a lot of fun. It was basically just like an elaborate game of hide and seek with a rich family who were basically hunting down the bride of their son. And it was all a big game and turned into a big deadly game of cat and mouse. Don't know where they're going to go with the second one, but we'll soon find out. April, we'll see the Super Mario Galaxy movie coming out with Chris Pratt back voicing Mario. The first one was great. I was really surprised by the first one, not the first Super Mario Brothers film, not the Bob Hoskins one back in the day, because that is terrible. But the animated one that came out a few years ago was really good fun. So I'm hoping the trailer is good. I mean, the sequel. I'm hoping the sequel's good. I've seen the trailer, and it does look wild. And we're going to get Yoshi in this one, and I love Yoshi. He's so cute. There's a remake of The Mummy coming out again in 2026, so in April. So this is like a reimagining of the original story. So it's going back to the old Hammer horrors, and Lee Cronin's directed it. Be interesting to see where that goes. There's a big biopic of Michael Jackson coming out, which should be... The trailer looks amazing. Jafar Jackson, who is playing Michael, just looks perfect. I mean, obviously he's related to him, which helps. So it'll be interesting to see there. One that I'm not that fussed about, Devil Wears Prada 2. I think I need to go back and see the first one, because the first one I remember watching, I was on holiday in Canada, and we watched it on the coach as we were driving around, so it was on a really small screen, couldn't really hear it that well. I probably need to give the first one another go. That's Devil Wears Prada 2. And talking of sequels, Mortal Kombat 2 is out. Carl Urban's in this one, playing Johnny Cage, who, if you know the Mortal Kombat stuff, Johnny Cage is a great character, and I think he'll do well. You got Mandalorian and Grogu coming out, so if you're a fan of Star Wars and the Mandalorian series, that's good. And another fantasy film coming out, another remake, Masters of the Universe, which I'm very intrigued about. I've seen trailers for this, and I do love the original Dolph Lundgren one, and this one looks really good. It's got a good cast, and it's so there's Camila Mendes, Alison Brie, Idris Elba, and Jared Leto is playing Skeletor. Now, we know what Jared Leto's like. He's probably going to turn it up to 11 and go over the top with it. He'll be trying to win an Oscar, which he'll never get. But yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing that. There's a big Spielberg film coming out later this year called Disclosure Day, which looks a bit like, when you look at the trailers, it's a little bit like Close Encounters. It's a little bit like Independence Day. It's basically a UFO film. It's an original idea from Spielberg. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's Spielberg, so it's probably going to be pretty good. Speaking of Scream 7, we got Scary Movie 6 out this year as well. And we got Toy Story 5. We've got Supergirl. We've got Jackass 5. We've got a new Minions film, which I saw the trailer for the other day. And, I mean, it's a Minions film. What can you expect from a Minions film? It's just a lot of Minions acting the fool. Looking forward to that. The live-action remake of Moana, which really didn't need to be made, but The Rock has really pushed for that. Sorry, Dwayne Johnson, as he's now probably known as. Do we need a live-action remake of Moana so close to when the original film came out? I don't think we do. Later this year, we've got The Odyssey. Now, The Odyssey is a massive story. It's a big, epic story, and Christopher Nolan's got a hold of it, and he loves the word epic. So it's probably going to be about 5 hours long. Where I don't know what to think about it. I don't really know much of the story originally. I'm not going to go back and read the book before that one. I'll just see it when it comes out and judge it from that. Another Evil Dead film, and that kind of takes us up to the summer, where we get stuff coming out later on in the year. So we'll talk about more of them kind of when it gets to that time. So what are you looking forward to? Is there any of those films that are upcoming that you're kind of really looking forward to going to see at the cinema? Stuff that you want to kind of make sure that you're going and watching on opening night? There's going to be a few, like Scream 7 for me, I have got to go see on opening night. There is no way I am having a Scream film spoiled for me. I've seen most of the other ones, on opening night, and it was very much like I did with the Saw films. There's certain films that you just have to see as soon as they come out, because I don't want to be going on Facebook the next day and seeing who the killer is when it's like, oh my god, can you believe Courtney Cox was the killer after all this time? That's not a spoiler, by the way. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going to go with Scream 7, so that's definitely going to be a day one viewing. I will definitely be going to that. So yeah, let me know what you think about the films that are upcoming. You can email me on davonfilmreviews@gmail.com, or just contact me on my socials. Like I say, I'm not that hard to find. But let's have a quick look at the 10 films that are making up the current UK box office top 10. Not in at number 10, it's been there for 4 weeks now, is 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. So this has been in there, like I said, for 4 weeks. It's just hanging into the top 10, and it's great. I think 28 Years Later, the first one, put a lot of people off. So when I say the first one, I meant the one that came out last year, the 28 Years Later film. I think it put a lot of people off because it was very slow. Not much happened. There wasn't many zombies in it, and it felt like a kind of different film to what 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later did feel like. But I really enjoyed it when the first one came out, and then this second one came out, and it is phenomenal. Jack O'Connell is amazing in it. He's an absolute psychopath. And Ralph Fiennes as the Dr. Kelson is just absolutely on fire in more ways than one. The final 20 minutes of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, are truly some of the most spectacular things happening on screen that I have ever seen, and I am all for it. And that is at number 10, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. At number 9 is Iron Lung. So this has been in the top 10 for a couple of weeks, and I would tell everybody, you need to go see this film. It is something completely different to anything you've seen before. So I did do a little small episode about Iron Lung where I spoke about it, and so you can go back and you can listen to that episode. But very briefly, Iron Lung was a small independent game that came out, and it was a computer game, and it's really quick. It took me 45 minutes to complete. I'd not even heard of the game until the day that I was going to see the film. Booked the film and went, oh, really, I should play the game and see what it's all about. So I did play the game, finished it in 45 minutes, and I thought, how are they going to put this and transfer it into a 2 hours, 10-minute film? And they did. And the mad thing about it is that the person who's created it is a YouTuber. It's called Markiplier on YouTube. And he's become famous from doing kind of reaction videos, playing games. So he played Iron Lung on his channel and got quite a lot of views from it because of his reactions to the stuff that goes on in the game. So it's kind of become his passion project, and he got with a guy who made the original game, and he's basically funded the entire thing. He's directing it, he's written it with the original writer, and he's produced it, and he's even acting in it. He is the main role. The entire film is set within the confines of a small submarine that is in a sea of blood, and he's trying to navigate his way around, and there's something down there. It's all a bit weird. It's an absolute treat. It's fairly long. It could probably do with being a little bit shorter, but it's brilliant. It's atmospheric. It is really atmospheric. You feel like you're in that submarine with him all the way through, and it is really well made. To say that he's a first-time director, he has put everything into this. You feel like you're in there. The sound, the noises, the visuals that you get on screen, everything's perfect. It is a really big triumph of filmmaking for someone to come from an independent background, and not even an independent filmmaking background. He's just decided to make a feature film, and he's absolutely smashed it. That is Iron Lung, and it is still in the UK box office top 10, and it's at number 9. At At number 8, and after 8 weeks, it is still in the top 10, is Avatar, Fire and Ash. So this is the third Avatar film. Whether there's going to be any more, God only knows. It all depends whether James Cameron can be bothered, because by all means they take a long time to make to these films, and I think he's basically dedicated the last however many years of his life to making these Avatar films. Fire and Ash is alright. It is long though. It's as long as the second one. So I like the first Avatar. I thought it were a really good way. It were new and it were different. And then all of a sudden, he slapped an extra hour and a half onto the second one, and the third one now is the same length, and it's so long. And there's a lot of scenes in there that kind of don't feel like they need to be in there. It's like the rehashing scenes from the previous one. And it's like, do you really need to do that again? Do we really need to see him going through waves, holding on to the big whale things and going, woo, yeah, woo, for 20 minutes? Do we need to see that? Do we need to see him flying through the air on the back of the flying things going, woo, yeah, woo? We probably don't need to see all that, but we get it because he's got 3 hours and 40 minutes to fill or whatever it is. It's a long film. I'm not saying it's bad because it is entertaining. I just felt like it was... I felt like that they didn't need to do a lot of the things that they did. And a lot of it felt a bit pointless. And I would say it's probably the weaker of the 3 Avatar films so far. But if you're a completionist, it's one for you to go watch. And at least you can tick it off and say that you've managed to enjoy it. So that's Avatar, Fire and Ash at number 8. At number 7 in the UK box office, and also 7 weeks on the charts, is Marty Supreme. So Marty Supreme is a Timothée Chalamet film, which looks like it's potentially going to win a few Oscars. I think he may be in for a good shout for winning the Best Actor. The film is all right. It's a bit manic, and so it's made by one of the Safdie brothers, and their history. If you know the Safdie brothers, so if you've seen Uncut Gems and you remember kind of the manic nature of Uncut Gems, Marty Supreme is very similar. It's just a bit insane. It's jumping around. There's fast talking. There's a lot going on, and I'm not always entirely convinced that it's going on for the right reason. And it's giving a kind of good depiction of this guy and the crazy life that he leads, kind of not knowing what he needs to do in life and jumping around from one thing to another and being a bit of a grifter and conning his way into situations. And it is really manic. Like I say, it's like Uncut Gems, but on a bigger scale, on a wider landscape. He's out there. He's all over the world. It's just manic. I mean, it's all right. It's an all right watch. It's entertaining. It's got a few funny moments in it. There's no denying that Timothée Chalamet is a great actor and he delivers the dialogue really well. And I do give him credit for that. And I wouldn't begrudge him winning the Best Actor Oscar because he is really good in this. Some of the supporting actors are fairly decent in there too. I don't know if I'd pick it as the best film of the year for me. It's up there in terms of what I think will do well at the Oscars, but for me, it was all right, and I'd advise seeing it. I think it's one that needs to be seen. I think it's a film very much in the vein also of things like Wolf of Wall Street. That's a long film, but needs to be seen, and has kind of got that kind of manic energy to it. But yeah. That's Marty Supreme. Give it a watch if you can. It's been out at the cinema for a while, so I don't know if you'll still be able to see it at the cinema. But it should be on streaming anytime soon. And that's Marty Supreme, and that's number 7. Number 6 in the UK box office top 10 has been in the top 10 for a couple of weeks now, and is one that I've not actually seen. So this is Shelter, and this is a Jason Statham film. I've seen a trailer for it. It looks all right. It looks like a typical Jason Statham film. Young girl keeps dropping food off to him at his house. Something happens. this house is in a remote location. Some people come to try and get him or get her or something, and he has to protect her. It's just a typical Jason Statham running around, shooting stuff, diving through air, getting shot, talking gruff. If you like Statham, I expect you're probably going to like Shelter, and that's Shelter that's at number 6. At number 5 in the box office is Zootropolis 2. Now, this has been a massive, massive triumph for Disney. It's made £33 million in the UK so far. It's been in the top 10 for 11 weeks, and it's still in there at number 5. And if you've not seen it yet, but you've seen the first Zootropolis, it's more of the same, but better. There's so much going on screen. There's so many visual gags. Everything that's on screen is designed to an absolute T. It's perfect. There is so many comedy moments. The story's great. You know, you've got these two. They're trying to uncover what's going on, where they think that some snakes are trying to cause carnage. Then it all leads to kind of a conspiracy with the snakes who were kind of kicked out of the land, out of Zootropolis originally, and trying to get back in and stuff like that. And it's just, there's a lot going on, but it is so much fun. There's some great action sequences. The animation is absolutely out of this world. It's a lot of fun. You will watch Zootropolis, you'll laugh. And I think it's the type of film that you will go back and watch again and spot more things, because the amount of things that are going on in the background, like the names in people's phones that link to animals, because everybody in Zootropolis is an animal. So all the businesses in the background that are all named crazy things, everything about it is just really well made. The animators have had so much fun making Zootropolis, and it really comes across on screen, and I am all for it. And the amount of money that this has made globally, I think it is now officially Disney's highest grossing animated film ever. And there's going to be a Zootropolis 3, isn't there? I mean, it's even hinted at the end. And if they go where they're going to go at the end, they've got a great start. It's going to be awesome. And I really hope that they go with it. I am all for it. I am here for Zootropolis 3. I was definitely there for Zootropolis 2. And so is the rest of the UK, because it is still the number 5 film in the UK box office. Number 4 in the box office is Hamnet, and it has been there now for 5 weeks. So this is the Jesse Buckley and Paul Mescal film, which is a story which kind of focuses... It's about William Shakespeare, but it focuses a lot more on who we know as Anne Hathaway, not the actress, but Shakespeare's wife, Anne Hathaway. But in this, she's called Agnes. I think it's pronounced Anya in the film, but it's spelled Agnes. And it's the true story, effectively, about what happened with her and Shakespeare's child. Now, if you know the story, unfortunately, they lost a child when they were younger, and the child was Hamnet, and that is effectively where Shakespeare kind of got the inspiration to make the Hamlet play. So it's a slow film. It's a very slow film because of the setting, and there's not much going on. I found it a bit dull, but I expect Jessie Buckley should win the Best Actress Oscar for this, because her performance is really well. She goes through happiness, she goes through a lot of grief. I mean, a lot of people are calling it like grief porn. And there is a lot of grief in it, obviously, because of the nature of the story and the time and the things that were happening. But it is entertaining. So if you kind of know the Hamlet story as well, it helps. And obviously, there's stuff in there. There's some cheesy bits in there, like when Shakespeare literally walks off and looks into distance and says, "To be or not to be, that is the question." It's like, come on now. But it's a well-made film. I think it'll do quite well at the Oscars, and like I say, I think Jessie Buckley will take away the Best Actress award. and that's Hamnet, and that's number 4 in the charts. Number 3 in the charts, and unfortunately the last one of this list that I've actually seen, is The Housemaid. So this is the film that's based on a novel by Frida McFadden. It was the first novel of a trilogy that she wrote. So it's a big movie adaptation of a popular book series. I've never read the books, but the story is about a girl who's on parole, played by Sydney Sweeney, who takes up a job offer to go work as a housemaid in a big mansion. It's a live-in job. She's gonna live in kind of like the attic room and do the housemaid work for this rich family. So it's Amanda Seyfried and her husband Brandon Sklenar and their daughter. And when she gets there, she's happy to get the job. She needs a job because she needs it. Otherwise, she goes back to jail. But when she gets there, things are a little bit off. Things are a bit strange. She turns up on the first date and the entire house is a mess. She starts getting accused of doing things and moving things that she's not done. She gets asked to do things, and then when she does them, she gets kind of chastised for doing them. And she's like, well, I just did what I was asked to do. And then naturally, Sydney Sweeney's character naturally starts fancying the husband. Stuff starts happening. I don't want to spoil where the story goes. If you've read the books, you'll know where the story goes. And it was quite apparent when I watched it in the cinema that there were people who definitely read the books because certain things were happening. And I could literally hear people going, look, here we go, and things like that. So it's like if you've read the book, don't start reacting to things in cinema because you're spoiling it for everybody else. But that's The Housemaid, which it's been in the charts now for 7 weeks, and it's the current box office number 3. So number 2 in the UK box office top 10 is a film that I'm not going to probably see. It's Stray Kids, The Dominate Experience. Now, it looks like, so basically, the Stray Kids are a K-pop band, so it's Korean pop, and it's their film. It's basically a live show, but it's got a load of kind of like backstage footage. It's not something I'm going to be that interested in. The fact that this is coming out now and getting a lot of kind of exposure comes on the back of things like the BTS movie that came out a few years ago, and the obviously K-pop Demon Hunters has got a lot of people interested in K-pop. I've never heard any of the songs. I'm probably not going to go see it at the film. It might hang around in the charts for a couple of weeks and then drop off. But yeah, that's the current box office number 2, Stray Kids, The Dominate Experience. And number 1 in the box office currently is Send Help. Now, I've not actually seen Send Help yet, but it is one that I definitely do want to go and see, and I'm hopefully going to get to see it this weekend. So this is a story of an employee and her boss, and she's kind of been overlooked for jobs in the workplace, and he's a bit of an insufferable boss, and she doesn't get on with him. And when they're on a business trip, the plane crashes onto an island, and they're the only survivors, and they effectively have to kind of survive together. But the thing is, Rachel McAdams, her character is mad on Survivor, the TV show. So she kind of knows a lot of survival skills, whereas Dylan O'Brien, her boss, knows nothing. So she effectively becomes the alpha on the island. Now, it's a Sam Raimi film. I've not seen it, I've only seen the trailers, but it's Sam Raimi. It's on an island, and the poster's got Rachel McAdams running around with a knife. So if they've not used 50 gallons of blood in this film, I'll be very disappointed. I've heard it's quite fun, and I do want to go see it. It's a 15 certificate. It's less than 2 hours, so it's an easy watch. And it is the current UK box office number 1, and hopefully I'll be able to have a review for that for you next week. So there we have it. That is the box office top 10. There's a lot of films in there. How many have you seen? Which ones have you seen? Which have you enjoyed? which ones, which films have you maybe seen that have not hit the top 10? So there's a few others that came out this week. So there was, as well as Hamnet, that's number one. Riz Ahmed has made a kind of a modern day adaptation of Hamlet, and that's kind of only hit number 21 in the charts. That is, I think it's getting a fair bit of praise because of kind of its contemporary setting and Riz Ahmed's kind of dedication to the story from when he was younger and he kind of experienced it. So I think that might be a really good watch. Fading Away Fast at number 41. I need to give a mention to Return to Silent Hill, possibly one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. If you want to hear my full rant about Return to Silent Hill, look back at a previous podcast episode about it and just see what I thought about it. I don't hold back. It is one of the worst films I've ever seen. And I went to see it at the cinema on my own, so my girlfriend didn't want to come at the time. But it's come onto digital streaming, and I said, shall we watch it? And I'll see if it gets any better on a second viewing. And you know, sometimes when you watch something and you're a bit harsh on it, and then you go back and watch it again, and you realise that it's not as bad as you actually thought it was. Well, I went into it thinking this might be the case here. Unfortunately, it's worse than I actually thought it was originally. She didn't like it either. She thought it was nowhere near as good as the first one. She actually reviewed it saying something along the lines of, it's not as good as the first film, there's no Sean Bean, and Pyramid Head is hotter in the first one. So that kind of sums it up. It's just a bad film. Even if she's not played the game, so she didn't even have the game to compare it to. She just thought it was a bad film, which it is. So other things that I've seen this week. So I've had a preview screening of a film that I think came out in America a year ago or so, and we're only just getting it now. And it's a new Looney Tunes movie. So it's called The Day the Earth Blew Up. Now, if you like a Looney Tunes film, this might not be for you. So I'm a Looney Tunes fan. I always have been since I was a kid. I love them. Space Jam obviously came out. Space Jam were amazing. It had all the characters in there, and kind of, if you've seen Space Jam, it's so much fun. The original one, not the remake. And then things like Back in Action with Brendan Fraser and the Looney Tunes. So much fun. Really good fun. And they had a lot of the Looney Tunes characters in. The unfortunate thing about this one is there's only 3 of them. It's basically a Daffy Duck, Porky Pig and Petunia Pig film. So they're the only 3 Looney Tunes that are in it. Now, the film's about an alien invasion. And in the Looney Tunes universe, you've got Marvin the Martian, who's a great character and has loads of dealings with Looney Tunes. So why not have him as the alien character who comes in? But no, they're bringing another alien who was voiced by Peter McNichol, who was actually quite a good character in it. But a lot of the film it's an hour and a half, and Daffy Duck's funny because Daffy Duck's Daffy Duck, so he's got that like slapstick silliness about him. But then you've got Porky Pig, and the whole comedy behind Porky Pig is his stutter. You know, that's all, folks. And then or saying a sentence and then changing the word to be something else. And because that's the only kind of humour that character has, they do it loads of times. He does it and Petunia Pig does it as well. And it just becomes a little bit tiresome. It's lacking quite a lot of the fun, unfortunately. And I'm not entirely sure I enjoyed it. If kids will love it though, there's enough in there for kids. There is some really good moments when they kind of start doing some old Looney Tunes cartoons in there, and when they do those bits, that is actually quite entertaining, and it kind of throws back quite a lot. But still, no Bugs Bunny, no Wile E. Coyote, no Roadrunner. Have some of those characters in there, the ones that everybody loves. Where's Foghorn Leghorn? I say, where's Foghorn Leghorn? Unfortunately, it were all right. It were just all right. I gave it 3 out of 5 because it were fun in parts. It just never went above being all right. but I think kids will love it. I also watched this week, I watched Blue Moon, which has been Oscar nominated for Best Actor for Ethan Hawke and Best Original Screenplay. So this is a story all about Lorenzo Hart, who was the longtime collaborator originally with Rogers. Everybody knows Rogers and Hammerstein, but it was originally Rogers and Hart, and they kind of collaborated on stuff. But then Rogers wanted to get into kind of doing more musical stuff, which Hart didn't want to do. So in this film, we find it's all happens on the evening of the opening of Oklahoma, which Rogers and Hammerstein have done, and Lorenz Hart is kind of in the bar, and he's waiting for them all to come out, and he's quite bitter about the fact that he's lost his long-term collaborator, but he's a drunk. Rogers and him had arguments. There's story that kind of unfolds in there. So it is a true story about what happened. And Ethan Hawke is really good. Now, the Lorenz Hart was quite small. He was like less than 5 foot tall. So they do some forced perspective and some camera trickery to make him look small, which looks a bit odd on screen when you kind of know that Ethan Hawke isn't that size. But I thought they did really well with it, and it's a Richard Linklater film, so it's just talking. It's a lot of talking. If you don't like films where it's just people talking, a little bit like his other films that he's done, like Tape and the Before Midnight, Before Sunset, After Midnight, or whatever they're called. Those 3 films and Tape were all Linklater films starring Ethan Hawke, and they're very, very talky. But the work, they really work. And I love them. It's like in Tarantino films, I like the bits where 2 people are just talking. They are my favourite parts of the films. So that is well worth a watch. And I think it might be it is in the running for an Oscar. Whether it'll win it or not, I'm not entirely sure. But we'll see when it comes to the Oscars next month. And the final film that I want to give a quick shout out to is a Netflix film, which I saw last night. And it is the new film. It's been out a while now, but it's a new film from Matt Damon and Ben Affleck called The Rip. Now it's a police drama. It's all to do with cartels and cartel money and drug money. Matt Damon's character gets a tip off, and they all go to this what they think is a cartel house, and they get there and they're expecting to find a small amount of money, but when they're there, they find a rather substantial amount of money. But it also means that they're now kind of in danger because the cartel are not going to want to let $20 million go. So they run into some kind of outside force. But at the same time, there's suspicions in the team that there is a snitch. So they're trying to figure it out. Now everybody becomes a suspect. Nobody knows who's doing what. Everybody becomes suspicious of each other. And it's really, really good fun. Now I kind of guessed a little bit of kind of what the outcome was going to be. But it were an entertaining film, and kind of when everything kind of gets revealed later on, it is really well made. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon really know what they're doing when it comes to filmmaking, and it really comes across in this. So The Rip is on Netflix, and it is well worth a watch. Thank you all for listening. Like I said earlier on, please give us a subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Share it. Just share it on your socials. Tell people about it. The more people that know about it, the more we can have interactions with. If you want to get in touch, because I'm more than happy to read your reviews out. If you've got a review of something, send it in to me. So you can send it in on davonfilmreviews@gmail.com, or wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can comment in the comments. I'll drop me a message on my socials. Everything's in the description for this episode. And yeah, just get in touch and we'll see if we can get you involved in the show. Plenty of past episodes to go back and listen to. Hopefully I'm going to be getting some proper Have You Seen episodes in soon, where I sit down with somebody and we discuss a film that one of us has not seen. But until then, I want you all to carry on watching the films that you're watching. Watch the stuff that you enjoy. Watch the stuff that you've watched 100 times. Watch it 101st time. It doesn't matter. If you enjoy a film, enjoy a film. Let me know what you've been enjoying. Whether it's something new, whether it's something old that you've just discovered for the first time. whether you've introduced people to films, to certain films that you loved, and you've shown them to your kids, or you've shown them to one of your relatives or your friends. Let me know what you've been doing with your film watching. And I will see you back here for the next episode. And remember, keep those time circuits on and that flux capacitor fluxing.